I want to add my voice to the debate on this bill, the amendment to this Road Traffic Act, Cap 295. That was mentioned before, it's a very simple amendment. In fact, the main difference is that, as was alluded to before, the authorities will now have the power to request, and most importantly, persons can use the IDs that was issued under the Barbados Identity Management Act 2021. They can use that as a proxy or in place of their driver's license. And this, it does two things I can think about right now. Other than being a convenience for those in the driving public, I think it also allows for authorities, whether it be police or officials from the Ministry of NTW, traffic inspectors, to do their jobs more easily, because they can more easily verify information. I would not be surprised if they can verify that information on the spot when asking persons to produce their driver's license. So in essence, it not only makes the work of the authorities easier, but it also forms an important part of that transformative agenda that we have alluded to here today and we've been talking about as a government during this particular administration and in the previous administration, where we are looking to make governance in this country smarter, where we are looking to make conducting of business in this country, both in the private and public sector, easier. I think this introduction of this national ID, this digital ID, is a step in the right direction, as it says that Barbados is adapting to the 21st century, that we're evolving as a modern nation. And I remember, just like the member for St. Michael North, my experiences with the old license. I'm not even going to go as far back as the red one. I can use the one that we currently use. I traveled to overseas some time ago. I was visiting another house of parliament, and the entrance, they asked for your driver's license or your ID. Now, I didn't even bother to take out my Barbados ID. I thought that would have been a waste of time. It might have been embarrassing. But I reached for my driver's license. And the young lady took it from me very politely. She smirked, and she gave me it back. She said, "I think you should probably get your passport." But everyone in that line was a tourist just like me, and I saw that they took the identification cards, they either tapped it or swiped it, and they were allowed through because they had modern identification cards. And I'm pleased that Barbados is now poised to be going in that direction, where we are modernizing that. I mean, I know that the old driver's license was a source of embarrassment for many a Barbadian traveling overseas just years ago, and many were happy, extremely happy to see the back of that old thing. And many would be very happy to see the back of the old, outdated, laminated ID card as well. But, Mr. Speaker, all of these new and fancy innovations will mean very little for those of us who live in rural spaces who are still grappling with a terrible and desperately diminished road network. And I would not miss this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to speak briefly about the conditions of the roads in the rural parts of Barbados. As the member for St. Michael South East alluded to, these things mean nothing to the average man. These fancy new things, this technology, means nothing to the average man. If the vehicle that you're driving, you have to spend thousands of dollars repairing because the roads are no good. Because the roads are full of potholes still, or they're wavy and bumpy. These things means nothing. It's just talk. But I'm happy that just last week, Mr. Speaker, our Prime Minister, she would have signed a framework agreement paving the way for approval of a loan from the Export-Import Bank of China, which would fund the rehabilitation of 224 roads in the kilometers of road in the Scotland district, or 56 roads to be more specific, to the tune of 230 million Barbados dollars. And that's where I want to turn my attention to, Mr. Speaker. When the Prime Minister signed that, at the signing ceremony, when she was signing that agreement, she made mention of the Scotland district. She made mention of the East Coast. I think at some point she said something along the lines that that part of Barbados, it is that pride of place that most people are proud of because it represents perhaps the most beautiful example of what this country has to offer in terms of pristine beauty. I'm paraphrasing, but she said words to that effect. And she did not specify the part of the Scotland district that she was referring to, but those of us who heard and those of us who knew that she was referring to St. Andrew. She said the East Coast. She was being fair to our colleagues in St. Joseph and St. Thomas and St. John. I know she was. That's the type of person that she is. But I know that she was referring to the beautiful parish of St. Andrew. So but I'm glad, I'm happy regardless that us in the rural parts of Barbados, in the rural spaces, are seeing that type of interest being paid to our concerns. And I'm glad that this government is paying attention and working assiduously to address some of the issues that are peculiar to rural spaces. I mean, I'm talking not only about issues as it relates to roads, because as a member for St. Michael South East, and a member for St. Lucie, and a member for St. Peter, can tell you that in the north of the country we have concerns that are alien to people living in other parts of Barbados. I mean, as it relates, these are concerns as it relates to water availability and water quality issues. Things that even me that live in the north, but yet in the central part of the country, never knew about. Never saw before in real life. But these are some of the concerns that impact the lives of people in the northern parts of this country. And I'm glad that this government is working and working hard to ensure that not only the issues as it relates to the roads, which is very important, but those other issues that speaks to the health and, in some cases, the dignity of the good people in the rural parts of this country are addressed and being addressed as a matter of urgency. They want to commend the new Minister of Transport and Works and Water Resources for the way that she has taken the bull by the horn, so to speak. She has not sat down and depended on reports, but she has gotten out there every week, hit the road, meeting people, talking to real people, engaging people, explaining to people. I've done it too. We've both done it. But I give credit to her. And ensuring people that we, as a ministry, we as a government, we do all in our power to ensure that their inconveniences, that their issues are dealt with. And that the focus going forward, at least certainly for the next few years, will be on addressing their problems, treating their problems, and in seeing that they enjoy the type of standard of living and that those of us in other parts of Barbados take for granted as it relates to our road networks and our water. Also, those persons in St. Andrew, places like St. Simon's, White Hill, Rock Hall, Mosbottom, Greg's Farm, I'm sure that these people are happy knowing that soon their concerns of their houses slipping into the gully or their roads being destroyed or slipping away, being damaged by corrosion, will soon be a thing of the past because of the efforts being made by this government and because of that agreement that was recently signed with the XM Bank to fix all those roads, to rehabilitate all those roads that have been problematic for so many years in that part of Barbados. And I have every confidence that it will happen because it has already started. But it started in St. John. I see evidence of roads being done in Todd's Land and Sherburne, and that's in the rural spaces. Then there's Fairfield and Flagstaff. We've seen the Highway 2A, parts of Highway 2A being fixed. We've seen parts of Highway 1. All those roads have been fixed. So I know that the work has started, and I know that it will continue. And I'm thankful. So I just want to take this opportunity to assure my people, my people in St. Andrew, they're concerned. Yes, they'll be happy, just like any one of us, to have that new fancy Barbados ID / Barbados driver's license / the other elements that can be bolted onto it. But I know what they want more than anything else. It's good road. I know the people in North want good, clean water coming from their taps. And I assure you that these things will come. I just felt I had to say those things. They were important. But just to get back to the bill being debated this afternoon, all I can say is that this government has always been a responsive government, and this bill is just part of that effort to create more robust systems that will allow not only for an ease of doing business within the public sector, but also within the private space as well, within the private sector. And those ordinary Barbadians, I think ultimately will be the beneficiaries of not only this particular amendment, not only this particular piece of technology, but the whole suite of technologies and things that are going to be rolled out in time because of this innovative ministry that we have put together that was ably led by the member for St. Philip West and is now being equally so led by the equally competent member for St. Michael North. So I want to, as I close, associate myself with the words of my colleagues in supporting this particular amendment. Mr. Speaker, this is only just part of what we can expect and what the good people of Barbados can expect. And with those few words, I'm obliged.
Honourable Member for St. Michael South East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would have to say that my heart is filled with joy listening to the presentations of both honourable members, member for St. Michael North and also the member for St. Andrew, giving their maiden speeches and speaking certainly on this particular bill. I'm particularly pleased because the member for St. Michael North has demonstrated a very sound understanding of the area already, is batting as though he has been in that position for such a long time. I know he also has some big shoes to fill, but I think that he has done so exceptionally this morning, and you know, and to his credit, and also the honourable member for St. Andrew as well, who I am exceptionally proud of because he has been in my shadow in the Ministry of Education. You know, sometimes you don't realize what people have in them until they have that space and that opportunity to shine. And I feel as though a lot of our younger members are now getting that opportunity and that space to be able to be themselves and to grow into their own. For me, I feel very good because I know what that feeling is like when you finally reach the House of Parliament and you are here in your own right, representing your constituents, and you have that opportunity to be able to speak on behalf of the people who have vested the responsibility in you to speak on their behalf. And so I want to thank both honourable members, and I look forward to the contributions not only of yourselves but also of all young honourable members as well in the future. Let me just say that the key here, Mr. Speaker, is that while we acknowledge that there are issues still to be resolved, you heard the honourable member for St. Andrews speak to the issue of roads, the honourable member for St. Michael North speak to all of the areas and the aspects in relation to the transformational agenda that still need to be addressed. This government cannot sit on its laurels and do nothing. And therefore, while we are actively trying to address the problems, we also still have to plan for the future. And so I know when this Barbados ID card was even first talked about, there was a lot of concern. Why are we focusing on this now? We're in the middle of a pandemic, you know, why are we going there? And we didn't back down as a government. We said, no, this is what we want to do. Whenever we come out of the ashes of the COVID pandemic, we must be in a position to do what the people of this country vested us with the power to do, which is to transform Barbados in as wholesome a way as possible. And so, Mr. Speaker, I therefore again want to pledge that we are working assiduously in relation to the licensing office to ensure that we are able to deal with the backlog of the driver's licenses and to assure the general public that we understand the concerns that have been expressed. And as the member for St. Andrew has indicated, both of us are out there listening to the concerns as we did in education to be able to get to the root of the problem, because no amount of technology, no amount of transformation that we intend to do is going to mean anything unless we fix the small issues. So whether it is water or whether it is roads, we have a responsibility to fix the niggling issues in our Barbadian society so that Barbadians feel as though they are benefiting from the programs and the policies that we are in the process of implementing. So yes, we will do the multi-million-dollar roads, but we gotta make sure that we also ensure that the community roads are done. And equally, we gotta make sure that we move towards an electronic registration system, but we also have to make sure that we get the basic things like the ID cards into the hands of Barbadians as well in a timely manner also. So with those few words, Mr. Speaker, I therefore beg to move that Your Honor do, Sorry, I beg to move the second reading.
That bill be read a second.
That's sorry, that the bill be read a second time.
The question is that the aforementioned bill be read a second time. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that you do not leave the chair and that the House resolve itself into committee for further consideration of the bill.
The question is that the Speaker do not leave the chair and the House resolve itself into committee for further consideration of this bill. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it.
This House is in committee.
Clause 1.
Chair, I beg to move that clause 1 do not stand part.
The question is that clause 1 stands part. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those members against, please say no. He thinks the ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Mr. Chair, I beg to move that clause 2 do not stand part.
The question is that clause 2 stand part. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. All those members against, please say no. He thinks the ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Mr. Chair, I beg to move that clause 3 do not stand part.
The question is that clause 3 stands part. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those members against, please say no. Thinks the ayes have it.
Mr. Chair, I beg to move that clause 4 do not stand part.
The question is that clause 4 stands part. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those members against, please say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Schedule.
Mr. Chair, I beg to move that the schedule be the schedule to the bill.
The question is that the schedule be the schedule to the bill. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. All those members against, please say no. Thinks the ayes have it.
Mr. Chair, I beg to move that you do not report to His Honour the Speaker the passing of one bill in committee.
The question is that I do not report to His Honour the Speaker the passing of one bill in committee. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. All those members against, please say no. Thinks the ayes have it.
Chairman of committees is reporting the passing of one bill in committee.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be read a third time.
The question is that the bill be read a third time. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be now passed and cited as the Road Traffic Amendment Act 2022.
The question is that the bill be passed and so cited. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. This bill is passed and so cited.
Mr. Speaker, with that, we have come to the end of today's sitting. I therefore beg to move the adjournment of the House until Wednesday, the 23rd of February at 10 a.m., at which time we will begin the committee in relation to the estimates of revenue and expenditure. which will continue into Thursday and Friday and into the following week as well.
The question is that this honorable chamber be adjourned until Wednesday, the 23rd of February at 10 a.m. in the forenoon. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. This honorable chamber stands adjourned until Wednesday, the 23rd day of February 2022 at 10 a.m. in the forenoon.